Jimmy Kimmel is back on the air as the power of the boycott is once again proven after all sorts of people went to cancel their Disney Plus and Hulu in droves. The FCC chairman is now attempting to walk back threats that he made to Jimmy Kimmel's program after Kimmel made comments on his show about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But before we look at all that, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and let me know what you think about the video. So let's check out this from Yahoo here. It says, as Jimmy Kimmel heads back to air, and it says, as Jimmy Kimmel heads back to air and some stations still preempt him, FCC chairman walks back threats to ABC. ABC News is bringing Jimmy Kimmel back on Tuesday night following the host's high-profile suspension and a firestorm of vitriolic reactions. Not everyone is ready to play ball again, though, even if the FCC boss has walked back his prior comments that many viewed as a direct threat, with reports indicating that a large number of consumers canceled or paused their Disney Plus subscriptions. ABC's parent company execs seemingly experienced a shared change of heart, with the corporation going public with the news that Jimmy Kimmel would be back in front of audiences as soon as Tuesday, today, September 23rd, with seemingly without any additional stipulations or punishments. This is what Disney had to say. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. So again, Kimmel never even said anything directly about Charlie Kirk. He said that Donald Trump is totally looking to politically benefit from Kirk's assassination, which, I don't know how that is a hurtful comment or insensitive towards Charlie Kirk in any kind of way. That's just Kimmel's opinion. It really just kind of proves that this was about censorship all along, right? Ultimately not any comments that Kimmel made. It was about censoring Jimmy Kimmel. That's what the FCC wanted to do. And it turns out that, Disney, they love money more than anything. They love money more than they love their loyalty to, trying to appease and coddle Donald Trump. So lo and behold, people canceling their subscriptions and taking action against these corporations that are seeking to rescind and restrict our First Amendment right to free speech. It turns out that people standing up to these corporations very much so has a tangible effect. And, I'm chomping at the bit to see Kimmel's monologue tonight if he is on. And for Donald Trump, this can't be, this isn't good, obviously. You made such a stink out of this. You made such a point to blast Kimmel on social media. And in fact, when Stephen Colbert, another late night talk show host who was ultimately canned by his network for what a lot of people are assuming is his nightly monologues that he gives standing up to Donald Trump and blasting the administration. In that case, they had a bit more plausible deniability where they at least showed that Colbert's show was not profitable. So they kind of used that as their excuse as to why Colbert was canned. Ultimately, I believe it was very much so because of Colbert's political points of view that he often expresses on his show. So in this case, so you had Trump. He celebrated when Colbert was canned, and he tweeted on social media. He said, Colbert was talentless or whatever, and Jimmy Kimmel is next he said. And now that Jimmy Kimmel was removed from the program, but then just days later decided to be rescinded, you know, there's something called the Barbara Streisand effect, where if the administration had not felt any need to pressure the FCC chair in the first place to suspend Kimmel, or for the FCC chair to pressure ABC to suspend Kimmel, if that had never happened in the first place, you know, would the monologue that Kimmel gave about Charlie Kirk, you know, about Trump politically benefiting from Charlie Kirk's death or seeking to, would it have garnered this much attention and had this much of an effect and perked up the eyes and ears of so many Americans across this country who are looking at this as a gross violation of the First Amendment and are doing things like, again, like canceling their Disney Plus and Hulu subscriptions in droves, leading to this decision in the first place to be reversed? You know, to me, it seems like there's going to be, you know, a longer term political effect and perhaps a longer term sort of this rattling around in the memory of the American people. Not that the American voter has a very long memory whatsoever. And, you know, ultimately, I think that the whole Charlie Kirk thing, it's kind of going to not be at the forefront of each and every American's minds. Certainly by the midterms, and it seems like it's kind of already, you know, not at the forefront of the news in the way that MAGA and the right may want it to still be dominating the news cycle. And with Kimmel now being reinstated, you know, to me, if you're MAGA, if you're a Republican out there, you know, this doesn't look good for Trump. This looks like a very bad political error by MAGA to make such a stink out of Jimmy Kimmel's monologue that was not even that incendiary in the first place. And, you know, again, his comments that Kimmel made them in and of themselves in a vacuum, right, would never be have had this much of a ripple effect and have had this much people tuning into Kimmel. And, you know, but it seems like by the Republicans attempting to silence Kimmel and basically bully anybody that doesn't agree with them into submission, it seems like they have now done the exact opposite, right, of what they were intending to do. And this just kind of is another kind of thing that has occurred since Trump was inaugurated that tells me that we do still have this beating heart. You know, perhaps the heartbeat is fainter or it's not as strong as it used to be, but we do still have this democracy, and we do still, you know, the Trump administration perhaps has not gone fast enough, and they perhaps have made certain errors in certain key moments that is going to cause enough Americans to stand up to Trump during the midterms and hopefully, you know, totally nullify this, you know, rubber stamp MAGA Congress that we have, to where hopefully Donald Trump's administration and his Project 2025 agenda can be at least hampered or slowed down enough to the point that they ultimately do not accomplish their vision of creating this fascistic more autocratic, authoritarian, top-down sort of style of government that exists in many of the different countries that Trump has an affinity for their leaders. So that's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Let me know what you think about Jimmy Kimmel being reinstated. Is this a big deal? Is this not that big of a deal? Is this something that is going to just come and go in the minds of people? Or is this really something that is marking a point in time when the American people and the media are standing up to Donald Trump's fascistic administration? Let me know what you think. Have a great one. Take care.